Hello everyone, this is Mar Haddad here again. In this lecture, I'm going to speak first about what is the access control list and where and how to use it. Then I'm going to do this lab, which is the basic access control list that we use on Huawei Routers. So I'm going to show you how you can configure it, and we will see how it works. So as you can see here, we have 9 points to do. But before I start doing those points, let me go first to the lab scenario and give you some explanation about the access control list. Then we come back to the points and start doing them. So here is our lab scenario. It's very simple. We have router 1 and we have router 2. They are all configured with IP addresses, so the IP addresses are already configured, and they can ping each other. So what I'm going to do here, I have to do route, so router 1 can reach this network, which is loopback interface, and router 2 can reach also this network. And then I'm going to do the access control list to disallow router 1 to reach this network from one of the IP addresses. I will show you that when we do the lab. But before we start doing the lab, let me just explain to you what is access control list. Access control list is to do filtering. So if you want to do filtering on Huawei routers to allow and disallow traffic, you can also say which traffic you want to allow and disallow. You can use access control list. So you have to think it's like somehow a firewall inside the Huawei router. So normally you have 2 types of access control list. You have the basic and you have the advanced. Okay, so those are the 2 types that we have on the Huawei routers. The basics, they start from 2000 until 2999. So those are the numbers. So if you select, for example, access list and you give it a number 2000, then directly that's a basic. Okay, and you on the advanced you have from 3000 until 3099 now. So if you select any of the numbers for access list from 3000 to 3999, then this is gonna be advanced access list. So what is the difference between the basics and the advanced? On the basic, the access list works only on the source. Okay, so what does it mean? It means if we apply, for example, on router 1 a basic access list, okay, then the router 1, when you apply the access list, he will look to the source from where it is coming. So from which IP address it is coming. So he doesn't look if it's HTTP, if it's FTP, if you're using TCP or UDP or ICMP. He doesn't look at that. He just look for the IP as a packet, and he will look from which source. And he decide if you want to block or deny. Actually, you decide because you have to configure it. Okay, that's the basic. So again, basic, it looks only from the source. For example, when you apply an access list on router 2, that's what we are going to do in this lab. You write it, you say that I want to deny, for example, 1.1.1.1 to ping 2.2.2.2, and then you apply it on this interface here, on the inbound. We will speak about the inbound and the outbound in a moment. Then in this case, when router 1 ping from 1.1.1.1, so that means the ping is coming from the loopback interface of router 1, and it reached to this interface, and because we have the basic access control list, then in this case, he will look for the source. It's coming from 1.1.1.1. That's the source. That's from where it is coming. And it says that if anything coming from 1.1.1.1, then block it, then it will block. He doesn't look if it's ICMP or if it's TCP doing HTTP or. So it doesn't care about all that. So that's the basic access control list. While on the advanced access control list, it will look for the source. It will look from where it's coming. And it will look also for destination, to where it is going. So the source IP and also to the destination IP. And also it will look to the protocol, whether it is TCP, it is UDP, it is ICMP, or even if it's IP, the complete packet. And also if you are using, for example, TCP and UDP, you have ports. So it also looks to the ports. So if it's going to do on destination port 80, that means if going to do HTTP. If it's on the port destination port 21, which is FTP. So it will look to different criteria, and based on that you can say if you want to block or you want to deny. For example, let me just clear this picture a bit so we have more space to explain. Let's imagine on router 2 we have here a server which is www. So it's a web server which works on port 80. Okay. So what you can do, you can create an advanced access list. Again, you have to say it should be from those numbers from 3000 to 3999. And then you can say, I just want that this network 1.1.1.1 to be able to reach the web server. So you create an advanced access list and you say, anything coming from 1.1.1.1, so that's the source, going to the IP of the web server. Let's say the IP of the web server is 10.0.0.1. So anything coming from 1.1.1.1 going to 10.0.0.1, that's the web server. With a protocol, so HTTP, it works on protocol TCP, so you say that the protocol is TCP, and going to the port 80 because this is a web server, so it means it's going to port number 80. So if all of those match, then allow then 1.1.1.1 to reach to that web server. And then you want to disallow everybody. By default, on Huawei routers, if it doesn't match this one, so this one doesn't match, it will go to the other rule which is under it. By default, the rule which is under it, which is nothing, but Huawei will allow everything. Okay, we will allow everything. So that means if it doesn't match this one, then it will go down. On the second rule is nothing. That means allow everything. Then anyone can reach to that web server, and that's something we don't want. So what you can do here, you can say deny everybody. So if it doesn't match this one, so anyone which is, for example, coming from 4.4.4.4 going to the web server, then this doesn't match here. Then it will go to the second rule. The second rule will say deny, then it will deny and not allow it. So that's what the advanced access control list, what it can do. It works on the source, the destination, the protocol, and the destination port, while the basic one works only on the source IP address that is coming from. Okay? Now, the last thing that I want to explain on the access control list is where to apply it. Because when you write the access control list, whether basic or advanced, you have to apply it on an interface. So where to apply it? So again, that's in our case here, because we have two routers, and you need to apply it on this interface, because this interface is connected to router 1. And this interface, you have way in and way out. So that is out and that is in. So what does it mean? You have to, when you want to configure the access control list and to put it on the interface, you have to think of yourself as the router and your hands are interface. So you have to think that you are, so those are your hands. Anything coming to you that's in, anything going out from you is out. Also from that side, anything coming to you is in, and anything going out from you is out. So in my case, the traffic are coming from the router 1 to router 2. Then it will come to this interface. Then you open your hand and you say, it's coming to me. So it's coming to the router. Then in this case, it is the way in. You see, it's coming into the router. Then you have to apply it the way in to the router. So this is what I wanted to explain as a brief idea of the access control list. Now we have the brief explanation. Let's go to the lab, and with the lab we will understand much more about the access control list when we put it on practice. Point number 1, all IP addresses are configured as per the graph. So let me just put the picture, and here we go. I have already configured the IP addresses just to one time, so there is nothing special. IP addresses on the gigabit interfaces and IP address on the loopback interface. Now we need to make the static routes, so router 1 can reach 2.2.2.2, the loopback of router 2, and router 2 can reach 1.1.1.1, which is the loopback of router 1. So let's do that. We go to router 1 first. And if we now ping, for example, 2.2.2.2, you can see there is no ping successful. So now what I need to do, I have to go here and make IP route static to reach the network 2.2.2.0, which has the subnet mesh 255.255.255.0, then send it to the next hop IP address, which is 192.168.12.2 should be. So if we go to the picture, what I'm doing here, I'm saying for router 1 that if you want to reach this network, then send all your traffic to your next hop, and your next hop is 192.168.12.2. Now we need to do another one, which is from router 2, and we need to say, if you want to reach to that network, 1.1.1.1, then send all your traffic to the next hop, and the next hop is 192.168.12.1. Okay, so we go now to router 2 and we say IP route static to reach 1.1.1.0 255.255.255.0 go to 192.168.12.1 and I click enter. Point number 2 is done. Point number 3 is done also. Now we need to ping the loopback interfaces to see if we have replies. We have tried before, it wasn't successful. Let's try now. We go to router 1 and now we ping to 2.2.2.2. You see here it wasn't successful, now it is successful. If we go to router 2 and we ping 1.1.1.1, it's working without any problem. Point number 4 is done. Point number 5. On router 2, we have to create a basic access list to permit the packets with source 192.168.12.0. So, again, we have to make now the basic access list. That means it looks only to the source IP address. And in this case, they're saying that on router 2, we have to say that anything coming from 192.168.12.0, so that means it's coming from the gigabit 0/0/0 of router 1. So any packet coming from this IP address, then we have to permit it. Okay, so let's do that. We go to router 2. And to create a basic access list, all you need to do is to write access ACL, so access control list. And here you can see. You see that for basics access control list, you need from 2000 to 2999. For the advanced, you have to write from 3000 to 3999. We have also here for layer-through access list, but that's not part of the track of HCIA, so I'm not going to speak about it. And of course, you have the name and the number, but those reflects to the basic and the advanced. Okay, and we have the IP version 6 that's out of scope of this course. So now we need to do the basic. So we take 2000. And then now we have to write rules. The first rule that I want to say, the rule can be from 0 to 492 and so forth. So we say rule number 1 is to permit, you see the source, is to permit source, which is from 192.168.12.0, question mark. And here you have to write the wildcard mask. So what is the wildcard mask? I will write it and I will explain to you what is the wildcard mask. So I will say 0.0.0.255. And I will say enter. So what is the wildcard mask? If we go to router 1 and we say here display IP interface brief, we see that the IP address of gigabit 0/0/0 is 192.168.12.1/24. That means the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. The wildcard mask is somehow like the inverse of the subnet mask. If you know the subnet mask, in our case, we know what is the subnet mask, then you can get the wildcard mask. How to do that? Actually, it's very simple. Let me go here and I will show you how you can do that. We said that we know that the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. That's the subnet mask of this interface, which I'm saying that it's allowed, it's permitted to come to router 2. Now, what you need to do here, to get the wildcard mask, all you need to do is to write here over 255.255.255.255, and you make minus. So this minus this, 255 minus 255 is 0. 255 minus 255 is 0. 255 minus 255 is 0. 255 minus 0 is 255. So this is the wildcard mask, and that's what you need to write when you make the access control list. No matter what is your subnet mask, even if it's with the VLSN, that means it's 255.255.255.224, for example, you always put 255.255.255.255 on top, and then you make this minus this, and then you can get the wildcard mask. Point number 5 is done. So now we permitted anything coming to router 2 from 192.168.12.0 to be permitted. Now, if it doesn't match, it has to go to the second rule. And the second rule, there is no rule there. That means to permit everything. And that's not what we want. We only want to permit anything coming from 192.168.12.0. That's why we need to create another rule under that rule and to say to deny everything else. And that's what it says on point number 6. On router 2, create a basic access list to deny all other IP packets. So we go back to router 2. And here we have to say rule number 2. So we are going to work here on sequence. So rule number 1 is to permit. Rule number 2 is to deny source and question mark. Here you can say any. Any means any source IP address, anything which is not 192.168.12.0, because the first rule is before. So check the first one. If it's allowed, that's fine. If it doesn't allow, it go to the second rule. The second rule say to deny anything. Then in this case, it will deny anything. And now if we say display ACL 2000, and here what you have. You see, rule number 1 is to permit the source coming from this IP, and if it doesn't match, then it goes to rule number 2, which say to deny. Okay, and that's it. Port number 6 is done. Port number 7, now we have finished configuring the access control list. Now we need to apply it. Remember, we always have to apply that on an interface. Okay, and remember, when you have to think where to apply it, think of yourself as a router, open your hands and say the way in or the way out should be. So in my case, what I'm saying that I just want to permit all the traffic coming from 192.168.12.0. That means from this interface. I'm saying that I want to permit it to come to router 2. Anything else, I have to not allow it, so to deny it. Then, as it is coming to here, it's coming to this interface. Then on this interface, this is coming to me, to the router, then it is the way in. So we have to apply it the way in on the interface gigabit 0/0/0 of router 2. Okay, let's do that. We go to router 2. And from here I have to go to the interface gigabit 0/0/0. And here the command is, we have to say traffic filter question mark. You see, we have the way inbound and the way outbound. We said it is the way in, so we take inbound question mark and ACL. And here you have to say which ACL you want to apply that. Remember, we made, if you look here on at the beginning, we said that the ACL, we gave it a number of 2000. You see, ACL 2000. That's when we wrote it here. So that's what you need to write here. So the number is 2000. So now I have configured the basic ACL and I have also applied it on the interface. Let's now try to do the test and see if it's gonna work the way I want it. Port number 7 is done. Now port number 8, we have to ping from router 1 to 2.2.2.2. So ping to router 2 to anywhere, because destination is not important, but it has to go to router 2. 2.2.2.2, that's a loopback interface on router 2. So we have to ping from router 1 to 2.2.2.2. Let's do that. We go to router 1, and from here I have to say ping 2.2.2.2, enter. And you can see the reply is working. Why? Because when you say ping 2.2.2.2, the ping is going from this interface, the gigabit 0/0/0. So, and this interface here has an IP address of 192.168.12.1. That means it matches the first rule of my access controls list to say that anything coming to router 2 from 192.168.12.anything, so in this case is .1, then it is allowed. Then it has matched the first rule, then it has allowed it. So when it reaches to this interface looks, oh, that's coming from 192.168.12, then I will allow it. Okay, so that's why it has pinged. Let's check now what we need to do in the upcoming port. Port number 8 is done. Port number 9, we have to ping from router 1 to, again, 2.2.2.2, but we have to say that the ping has to come from the loopback 0 of router 1. So if I go here to the graph, what I'm going to do now, I have still to do the ping, but I'm going to say that the ping will come from this IP. So this is the source. Okay, so this is going to be the source when it comes to router 2 here, to ping this interface here. So now router 2 will check that it's coming from 1.1.1.1. Then it doesn't match the first rule, which says that anything coming from 192.168.12.anything is allowed. Then it go to the second rule. The second rule say to deny everything. Then I should not be able to make ping. Let's try. We go to router 1. We make ping. And to say that it's coming from the loopback 0, I have to say -a 1.1.1.1. I'm saying here that the ping is coming from the source, which is 1.1.1.1, to the destination, which is 2.2.2.2. And I will say enter. And as you can see here, it's saying request timed out. So it will arrive to router 2. Router 2 check the source is 1.1.1.1. Then it will send it to the deny rule and it will not allow it. And if you want, you can go to router 2 now. And let me clear here. And from here I can say display ACL all. Look here. The first ping I made it, which was permit, there were 5 pings and it says it's 5 matches. That means the first ping that it was made here to this one, you can count them 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are 5 pings here allowed. Then it shows here that 5 matches. So this has been allowed. The second ping, which coming from 1.1.1.1, it came to rule number 2 and it shows here 5 matches. You can also count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you want, we can now do again ping 2.2.2.2 and this which is allowed. Now we had here 5 matches, we should now get 10. And if we check, here we go. You can see 10 matches because it has taken this rule and this rule has allowed the ping to happen. Point number 9 is done. And with this point, I have just explained to you the basic access control list. So why we need it, how to apply the rules, and where to apply it on the interface, whether it's the way in or the way out. So this is what I wanted to show you in this lab. I hope that this first lab for access control list was informative for you, and I will see you in the upcoming lab, and I'm going to explain about the advanced access control list.